here at the Mega Indie booth, and we are here to see Snapshot, a number of years in the making. Now, can you start by introducing yourself and what you do in Retro Effect?
Sure. I'm David Carrigg, and I'm the software neurosurgeon at Retro Effect, which basically just means I do all the hardcore programming.
All right. Now, according to the website for Snapshot, this made Retro Effect. How did the idea come about to lead to what led to the IGF, or IFG, or whatever it's called?
IGF, yeah.
Must have dyslexia, sorry.
That's fine. So the original idea happened when a friend of ours had this dream where he was being chased by a monster, and he took a photograph of it with one of those old, dispensable cameras, and when the flash went away, the monster was gone. And so the next day, he went and talked to another one of our friends, and he was like, hey, Kyle, I really want to turn this idea into a game. They made the original prototype when they were still seniors at college, and entered into the IGF, got nominated for Excellence in Design, and they invited me to join the project after that, and they were like, hey, let's make this into a full realized thing with physics and all this other crazy stuff and new HD graphics and get it on the consoles, and so that's been our goal for the past 3 years, and we're almost there.
I can see it looks pretty good. So what's going on in Snapshot? What is this robot's mission?
So you play as Pick, who is a robot who can take photographs of objects in the world and capture those objects in the pictures. Then later on levels, you can take the pictures, slap them on top of the world, and all the objects will fall back out. So it's a lot of manipulating your environment, moving the objects around and everything, and then later on there's a whole bunch of physics-based puzzles where the object's in motion. There's puzzles later where you take pictures of yourself and put a copy of yourself in. You're both running around the world at the same time, and a whole bunch of other craziness that happens.
Now we're only seeing the first area here. It's a little bit of a desert area, not desert, forest. Man, I can't tell a forest from a desert. That's unfortunate. But how many areas are there going to be in the final product when it comes out?
So there's 4 different environments broken up into 4 different chapters. And you'll see this forest area. There's some snow and ice and lava caves. There's a robot factory that you go to. There's a sky temple that you go to where there's all these platforms and you're really, really up high in the air. And there'll probably be somewhere around 120 levels by the time the entire game is done, and it'll probably take between 4 to 6 hours or so your first run, and then that's if you're not trying to complete everything in the game.
And now you have been working on this game for 3 years. What has been the best and worst part about being an independent developer making this game?
So the worst part is that, I would say, is the route that we took. We don't have a publisher, we don't have any investment or anything else along those lines, so we're all self-funded, which basically just means we're eating into our savings, which is good and bad. It gives us a lot of freedom to do what we want, which is probably one of the best things about being an indie studio like this, because now we have the choice to put it on whatever platform, and we're not going to be bound by exclusivity or anything else along those lines. So when someone comes to me at a conference like this, and they're like, hey, I own a Mac, or I run Linux, or I have my PlayStation 3 or whatever, and I want it on this, can you guys do that? Then there's a much bigger chance that we can.
All right, I was going to ask what systems is it on? I can see it's running on a PC right now using the Xbox 360 controllers.
Right.
But so essentially it can be on any console as long as the publisher of the console or PC owners want it to be there.
So when we built the engine, it's all our own tech from the ground up. And one of the reasons why is because we want to be flexible about what platforms it'll eventually be on. So within the next 2 or 3 months, it'll launch on PC. It'll come out for Windows, Mac, and Linux. And then after that, we're planning to launch it on PSN. And that'll happen probably around the fall or so this year. And after that happens, we may put it on some mobile platforms or on some other things. Nintendo's really cool. We'd really love to do some stuff with them. But all that stuff is really tentative and nothing's set in stone yet. So.
All right. And one final thing. From what you can tell us so far, what was your favorite moment in playing Snapshot?
My favorite moment in playing Snapshot? I can tell you my favorite moment in developing Snapshot,
yeah, sure.
Which is so it was really funny. We were in the IGF in 2009, right? And we set because it's just a super small studio, we set our own little milestone goals, right? And one of the milestones that we had is, okay, by next year, 2010 IGF, right, we want to have this basically the same game that was in 2009, just with the new engine, with everything the new HD graphics and everything along those lines. And the first iteration of the photo mechanic went in about like one night. It was like the night before the IGF, and we were like, we need this mechanic in the game because it is the game. And it was sort of just went in and it worked, and the mechanic that you're seeing there is pretty much the exact same code that went in that one night, and it's worked since then.
Glad it worked out that way, right?
Right, exactly.
And if you're here, I hope you tried it out, because you could try out Snapshot when it comes out on PC or whatever platforms it comes out in the next few months.